there was a freedom of information request on COVID deaths and autopsies for essentially the first 2 years, so starting February 2020 to the end of 2021. So this was when most COVID deaths in the UK were recorded. And the question was how many of those deaths, and there were at that point there'd been about 131,000 officially classified COVID deaths, right, in the UK. Right? How many of those were really just due to COVID? So how many of those had only COVID as the cause of death on the death certificate, right? Well, I can tell you the numbers, there were only 6,000, right? So it's less than 5%. But here's the critical ones. How many under 20s in the whole of the UK for the entire period, that's the entire 2 years, died only of COVID? I died without any other comorbidities. How many do you think under 20 in the whole of the UK?
Well, you said there was 130,000 total. There's 6,000 with the sole cause. And so under 20s, I imagine, would be very low. It would be under 1,000.
Three. There were three. And incidentally, that number is even challenged by, and certainly for the first year, there was a paper by a group of clinicians, Ward et al., which actually looked at the actual health records of all of the patients of all of the children who died in ICU. And it turned out that there were only 8 who were classified as, there was actually only 8 who were even classified as COVID deaths who died in, who were classified as dying because of COVID rather than with it. But every one of those, as I understand it, had an existing life-threatening condition. So you could argue on the basis of that in that first year, there were in the UK. And even on this data, on the first 2 years, they're saying effectively only 3 under the age of 20 died of COVID. So people don't know. They just that's an FOI. Anyone can see that. That's public. That's on the government's own website.